Sit yourself down now, and let me tell you about something that the property developers and estate agents would rather keep quiet. You see, when people think of mountain living, they imagine Swiss chalets with price tags that require a banking fortune, or Colorado cabins that cost more than a Dublin penthouse. They've been convinced that any place with a view of peaks and valleys must come with peaks and valleys in the price as well. But here's what nobody tells you about Ireland. This island has mountain towns that would take your breath away with their beauty and then take your breath away again when you see what houses cost there. I'm talking about genuine mountain communities, nestled in valleys or perched on slopes, where the air's clean and the views are spectacular and the property prices haven't been corrupted by the madness that infected everywhere else. These towns exist right now, in 2026, still affordable for ordinary people who've given up on owning anything anywhere else. So subscribe and let's start. Number 10. Glenties, County Donegal. We begin in the heart of Donegal, in a town that sits in a valley where the Owenea and Stranagloth rivers meet, surrounded by mountains that rise dramatically in every direction. Glenties has been named Ireland's tidiest town multiple times, which tells you something about community pride. But what the Tidiness Awards don't mention is how remarkably affordable this mountain gem remains. The mountains surrounding Glenties include the Blue Stack Range to the east and the higher peaks of southwest Donegal to the west. The valley position creates shelter that moderates the Atlantic weather while maintaining easy access to hiking and climbing that would cost a fortune to access elsewhere. You can walk from the town centre into serious mountain country within an hour, returning to a community that has all the services daily life requires. The property prices in Glenties seem to belong to a different Ireland than the one the newspapers describe. Houses in the town average between 90,000 and 150,000 euros. Three-bedroom family homes in good condition sell for what Dublin buyers would pay for a deposit. The prices have barely moved in years, while the rest of Ireland went property mad, and then property madder still. The reason for these prices is the familiar story of Donegal's distance from everything. Dublin is a 4-hour drive on roads that test patience. Employment opportunities in Glenties itself are limited to what a small town can sustain. The young people who grow up here face the same choice that's faced young Donegal people for generations. Stay and accept limitation, or leave and accept loss. Many leave. But here's what that leaving creates for those who arrive. Opportunity that doesn't exist in places where everyone wants to be. A house with mountain views in Glenties costs what a parking space costs in certain Dublin postcodes. The mathematics of mountain living that seems impossible elsewhere becomes suddenly achievable here. The community in Glenties maintains vitality despite population pressures. The Patrick McGill Summer School brings literary attention annually, celebrating the writer who was born here and whose work documented the hard lives of Irish migrant workers. The traditional music scene is authentic and active. The shops and pubs serve locals year-round rather than depending on seasonal visitors. The infrastructure has improved through national investment in rural broadband and road maintenance. Remote work is now viable here in ways that would have been impossible a decade ago. Someone earning a city salary while living in a Glenties mountain house would enjoy a financial position that seems like fiction to anyone trapped in urban rental markets. The healthcare situation requires honest acknowledgement. Letterkenny University Hospital is about 45 minutes away. The local health centre handles routine needs. For anything serious, the distance to comprehensive medical care is real and significant. A retiree considering Glenties should factor this into their decision, though for those in reasonable health, the limitation is manageable. Number 9. Leenaun, County Galway, moving south to Connemara, to a village at the head of Ireland's only true fjord. Leenaun sits where Killary Harbour cuts 16 kilometres inland between mountains that rise directly from the water's edge. The setting looks more Norwegian than Irish, which is precisely what makes it unforgettable and precisely what makes the prices so surprising. The mountains surrounding Leenaun include Muilrea, the highest peak in Connaught at 814 metres, rising in one unbroken slope from sea level to summit directly across the fjord. The visual effect is of a mountain, larger than its actual height, which is already substantial by Irish standards. The 12 bends are visible to the south. The Sheafrey Hills rise to the north. You're surrounded by mountains in ways that most Irish locations can't claim. The property prices in Leenaun would be impossible to believe if you couldn't verify them yourself. Houses in the village average between 120,000 and 180,000 euros. Properties with fjord views that would cost millions in any accessible location, sell for prices that seem like typographical errors. The explanation involves isolation that protects as much as it limits. Leenaun is 90 minutes from Galway, 3 hours from Dublin, at the end of roads that discourage casual visitors. The employment in the village itself is minimal, depending on tourism that's seasonal and modest. The population is perhaps 250 permanent residents, which creates community but not commercial demand. The literary and cinematic connections add depth that the prices don't reflect. The Leenaun trilogy by Martin McDonagh, those dark comedies about small-town Irish life, brought international attention. The field was filmed in the surrounding hills. The landscape has inspired art because it's genuinely inspiring, yet the property market has somehow failed to notice. The hiking from Leenaun is world-class by any standard. The Western Way long-distance trail passes through. The climb up Moelrea is serious mountain business, requiring full day and proper preparation with summit views that reward every step. The valley walks along the fjord provide gentler alternatives. You could live here for decades and never exhaust the mountain possibilities. The services in Leenaun are minimal but genuine. A hotel, a pub, a shop, a petrol station. For anything substantial, Clifden is 30 minutes north or Westport, 45 minutes east. The isolation that creates the affordable prices also creates practical limitation that prospective residents must accept. Number 8. Ardara, County Donegal. Back to Donegal, for another mountain town that combines natural beauty with prices that seem designed to attract rather than exclude. Ardara sits in a valley surrounded by the Donegal Highlands, famous for tweed weaving that continues in traditional fashion while everything else in the world has changed. The mountains around Ardara include some of Donegal's most dramatic terrain. The Glenbeigh Pass climbs through landscape that seems almost lunar, before descending toward the coast. The hills rising behind the town provide walking that ranges from gentle strolls to serious climbing. The position in a valley creates shelter while maintaining access to high country in every direction. The property prices in Ardara follow Donegal's affordable patterns with slight premium for the town's reputation and amenities. Houses average between 100,000 and 160,000 euros. Properties needing renovation sell for significantly less. A house in a tweed-weaving mountain town, surrounded by dramatic landscape, for what Dublin buyers spend on stamp duty. The tweed tradition gives Ardara character that purely residential towns lack. The hand weavers still work at looms that have been in families for generations. The shops selling their products attract visitors who provide economic activity without overwhelming the town's character. The craft connection adds dimension to mountain living that you won't find elsewhere. The community in Ardara is Irish-speaking for a significant proportion of residents, this being Gaeltacht territory. The cultural depth that language preservation creates adds to the mountain setting and the affordable prices. You're not just buying a cheap house in a scenic location, you're buying entry to a community that has maintained traditions most of Ireland has lost. The infrastructure in Ardara has improved substantially. The broadband enables remote work. The roads, while still mountain roads, have been maintained and improved. The practical requirements for modern living have been met without destroying the character that makes the place worth living in. Number 7. Glenbeigh, County Kerry. To Kerry now. To a village that sits where the mountains meet the sea and one of Ireland's most dramatic coastal transitions. Glenbeigh faces Dingle Bay with the Beigh River running through and mountains rising directly behind to elevations approaching 700 metres. The mountains behind Glenbeigh include Seafin and Drung Hill, connected by a horseshoe ridge that offers one of Ireland's finest day walks. The route begins at sea level, climbs through farmland into heather moorland, traverses the ridge with views in every direction, and descends back to the village. Few walks anywhere combine accessibility with drama so effectively. The property prices in Glenbeigh seem low for Kerry until you remember that Kerry is enormous and only parts of it attract the premium prices tourists create. Houses in the village average between 130,000 and €190,000. Properties with mountain or bay views sell at the higher end, but still remain achievable for ordinary buyers. The combination of mountain and sea distinguishes Glenbeigh from purely highland locations. Rossby Strand, a 3-kilometre sand spit extending into Dingle Bay, provides beach access that pure mountain towns can't offer. The swimming, the walking, and the views across the bay to the Dingle Peninsula. These coastal amenities complement rather than compete with the mountain setting. The village itself has developed services that make year-round living practical. Pubs and restaurants serve locals and visitors. A shop handles daily provisions. The community maintains the social infrastructure that keeps small settlements functioning. The population is perhaps 400 permanent residents, substantial enough to sustain services without the anonymity of larger places. Subscribe now to prove these videos actually help and make sense, or keep ignoring mountain bargains while paying premium prices for flat views. Your choice entirely. The Ring of Kerry passes through Glenbeigh, bringing tourist traffic that provides economic benefit without the complete transformation that Killarney has experienced. The relationship with tourism is balanced enough that the village maintains its character while benefiting from visitor spending. The healthcare requires travel to Killorglin or Killarney for anything beyond basic needs, distances of 20 to 30 minutes. The isolation isn't extreme but exists. The prices reflect this reality while offering mountain and sea combination that nowhere else provides at comparable cost. Number 6. Cloghane, County Kerry, staying in Kerry for a village that sits at the foot of Ireland's second highest mountain with prices that seem impossibly low for such dramatic setting. Cloghane lies on the Dingle Peninsula's northern shore, directly beneath Mount Brandon, with the beach stretching in front and the sacred mountain rising behind. Mount Brandon dominates everything about Cloghane. 852 metres of mountain climbing from sea level to summit creates presence that can't be ignored. The mountain was sacred in pre-Christian times and remains a pilgrimage destination, with the ancient route marked by crosses and prayer stations. Living in Cloghane means living in the shadow of something significant. The property prices in Cloghane are remarkably low for the Dingle Peninsula, which elsewhere commands premium prices. Houses in the village average between €110,000 and €160,000. Cottages needing renovation sell for significantly less. The gap between Dingletown prices and Cloghane prices reflects the northern shore's relative obscurity rather than any deficiency in setting. The reason for this price gap involves the geographic quirk that puts Cloghane on the wrong side of the peninsula for easy access. Reaching the village requires either crossing the Connor Pass, a dramatic but nerve-testing mountain road, or driving the long way around. Either approach takes time that casual visitors often decline to invest, keeping the northern shore quieter and cheaper than the southern tourist circuit. The surfing at Brandon Bay has attracted those who've discovered the quality of the waves here. The surf community adds younger energy to a village that might otherwise skew elderly, creating social mix that pure retirement destinations lack. The beach provides the alternative to mountain climbing for days when the heights feel too ambitious. The community is part of the Dingle Gaeltacht, where Irish remains a living language. The cultural depth adds dimension to the mountain setting. The children attend Irish medium schools. The conversations happen in both languages. The heritage preserved here depends on people remaining to preserve it. Number 5. Roundwood, County Wicklow. Moving east to Ireland's highest village, perched on the edge of the Wicklow Mountains, within striking distance of Dublin, yet maintaining prices that seem to ignore this accessibility. Roundwood sits at 238 metres elevation, which wouldn't impress the Alps, but in Irish context represents genuine Highland status. The mountains surrounding Roundwood include some of Wicklow's finest. Juice rises to the south. The Lough Tay and Lough Dan valleys spread westward, glacial hollows of exceptional beauty. The Sugarloaf provides the distinctive silhouette visible from much of the Dublin region. You're in mountain country here, proper mountain country, while remaining within commuting distance of the capital. The property prices in Roundwood have risen with Wicklow's general desirability, but remain below what the Dublin proximity might suggest. Houses average between €250,000 and €350,000. The prices would be unremarkable for Dublin commuter towns, but seem low for a mountain village with this setting and accessibility. The accessibility that distinguishes Roundwood from western mountain towns changes the calculation entirely. Dublin city centre is 45 minutes away. The employment options that western isolation eliminates remain available here. Someone could work in Dublin and live in a Wicklow mountain village, enjoying the highlands daily rather than as occasional escape. The hiking from Roundwood is extraordinary for such accessible location. The Wicklow Way passes nearby. Day walks to Loughdane to Lough Tay. To the summits surrounding the village provide mountain experiences without the travel that western locations require. The quality of hiking relative to effort of access is unmatched anywhere in Ireland. The community in Roundwood maintains genuine village character despite Dublin proximity. The shops and pubs serve locals year-round. The schools educate children whose families live here rather than commute through. The social fabric remains intact in ways that pure dormitory towns have lost. Number 4. Laragh, County Wicklow. Staying in Wicklow for the village at Glendalough Gates, where mountain beauty meets monastic history, in setting that should command premium prices but somehow doesn't. Laragh sits where the Glenmacnas Valley opens into the wider landscape, surrounded by mountains that rise in every direction. The mountains surrounding Laragh provide the backdrop for Glendalough itself, that extraordinary glacial valley containing the ruins of St. Kevin's 6th century monastery. The round tower, the stone churches, the Celtic crosses rising among ancient oaks. These create one of Ireland's most photographed scenes. Yet the visitor crowds concentrate at Glendalough, leaving Laragh quieter than its proximity to the famous site would suggest. The property prices in Laragh average between €230,000 and €320,000. The prices seem high compared to western mountain towns, but represent genuine value for Wicklow mountain access within reasonable Dublin commute. The houses aren't cheap in absolute terms, but are cheap relative to what they provide. The hiking from Laragh exceeds even Roundwood in variety. The Spink Trail climbs to views over Glendalough's Upper Lake that regularly feature in lists of Ireland's finest. The climb to Lugnaquilla, Leinster's highest peak at 925 metres, can begin here. The variety of routes, from gentle valley walks to serious summit climbs, provides options for every ability and ambition. The services in Laragh reflect its position, serving both residents and Glendalough visitors. Multiple restaurants and cafes provide dining options. The accommodation ranges from hostels to comfortable hotels. The economic activity that tourism generates supports services beyond what the small permanent population could sustain alone. The Dublin accessibility changes what mountain living means here. The commute is feasible, though not pleasant as daily routine. The occasional office visit, the professional meeting, the urban services when needed, all remain available, while daily life happens in mountain setting, that most Irish people only visit on weekends. Number 3. Newport, County Mayo. To Mayo now, to a town that sits at the base of the Neffin-Beg range with access to one of Ireland's last genuine wilderness areas. Newport bridges the gap between mountain isolation and town services in ways that create genuine opportunity. The mountains behind Newport include Neffin itself, rising to over 800 metres, and the broader Neffin-Beg range that contains the largest remaining wilderness in Ireland or Britain. Over 100 square kilometres where the hand of human development has been so light it might as well be invisible. The wilderness is genuine, not a marketing term, but actual roadless terrain where you could walk for hours without seeing another person. The property prices in Newport are remarkably affordable for such mountain access, and houses average between €120,000 and €180,000. The prices reflect Mayo's general distance from employment centres rather than any deficiency in the town or its setting. The town itself is substantial enough to provide real services. Multiple shops handle daily needs. Pubs and restaurants provide social life. The medical centre offers primary care. The schools educate local children. Newport functions as a proper town rather than merely a settlement, which distinguishes it from smaller mountain locations where services require significant travel. The Great Western Greenway, cycling and walking trail, passes through Newport, connecting to Westport in one direction and a kill in the other. The trail provides accessible outdoor activity for those not seeking serious mountain climbing, I'm broadening the appeal beyond dedicated hikers. The Clew Bay, views from Newport and its surroundings add coastal dimension to the mountain setting. The bay's drumlins, those strange small islands created by glacial activity, provide scenery that complements the mountains behind. The combination creates variety that pure highland locations lack. Number 2. Clifden Area Townlands, County Galway. The town of Clifden itself has become expensive through tourism and reputation, but the townlands spreading into the mountains behind retain prices that the town has lost. The 12 Bens rise to the east, providing the mountain setting while Clifden services remain accessible. The mountains of the 12 Bens include some of Connemara's most dramatic peaks, Ben Bon, the highest at 729 metres, which dominates the view from the surrounding valleys. The range provides serious mountain walking that rivals anything in Ireland, with multiple peaks connected by ridges that allow day traverses of genuine ambition. The property prices in the townlands east of Clifden, places like Letterfrack's hinterland and the valleys leading toward Recess, range between 130,000 and 200,000 euros for houses. The prices are higher than the cheapest entries on this list, but remain remarkable for Connemara mountain access with Clifden services within easy reach. The reason for these prices involves the specific geography of Connemara property markets. Clifden itself has been discovered and priced accordingly. The coastal areas around Roundstone and Ballyconneely have followed, but the mountain townlands remain overlooked and the Sadder time, their distance from beaches making them less attractive to the tourists who drive coastal prices while creating opportunity for those seeking mountains rather than sand. The infrastructure in these townlands has improved through national investment. The broadband reaches, enabling remote work. The roads have been maintained. The Connemara National Park provides walking access without requiring you to drive significant distances. The practical requirements for modern living have been met, while prices lag behind what the setting would justify. Number 1. Bunclody, County Wexford. And so we arrive at my number 1, a town that sits at the foot of Mount Leinster with accessibility to Dublin that Western mountain towns can't match, and prices that make mountain living achievable for ordinary buyers. The mountains behind Bunclody include Mount Leinster itself, rising to 795 metres as the highest point in the Black Stairs range. The mountain provides walking that ranges from gentle valley strolls to the serious summit climb. The panoramic views from the top, extending across 4 provinces on clear days, reward whatever effort the ascent requires. The property prices in Bunclody are among the most affordable for any mountain-adjacent town, with this level of accessibility. Houses average between 120,000 and 170,000 euros. The prices would be unremarkable in the Midlands, but seem almost charitable for a town with genuine mountain access and Dublin reachable in 90 minutes. The explanation involves Bunclody falling between categories that the market prices efficiently. It's not close enough to Dublin for true commuting. It's not far enough to be considered destination retirement territory. It's a working market town that happens to sit at the foot of a mountain, and the property market has priced it as market town rather than mountain town. The Slaney River adds dimension beyond the mountain setting. The fishing is famous, with salmon and trout drawing anglers from across Ireland. The riverside walks provide alternatives to mountain climbing for gentler days. The combination of river and mountain creates a variety that pure highland locations can't match. The services in Bunclody include everything a town of around 3,000 provides. Multiple supermarkets compete for grocery business. Medical facilities handle primary care needs. Schools serve all age groups. The infrastructure for normal life exists without requiring travel to larger centres for daily needs. The community combines traditional rural Ireland with newcomers who've discovered the value the market underprices. The farmers' markets bring local producers together. The traditional music continues in pubs that serve locals rather than tourists. The integration works better than some places because nobody here is trying to preserve something artificial. And there you have it now. 10 mountain towns in Ireland where the prices haven't caught up with the beauty, where you can buy into highland living for what city dwellers spend on rent deposits. I've shown you Donegal valleys and Wicklow peaks, Connemara wilderness and Blackstairs summits. Places where the mountains define daily life while the prices remain achievable. The common thread through all these towns is the market's failure to price what they provide. The employment limitations that make these places affordable for buyers are irrelevant for remote workers, retirees, or anyone whose income doesn't depend on local opportunity. The isolation that keeps prices low has been transformed by broadband into connection that enables earning while enjoying mountain air. The opportunities these prices represent won't last forever. The remote work revolution is teaching people that beautiful places don't require sacrificing careers. The housing crisis is pushing people to look beyond the obvious. The mountain towns I've described will eventually be discovered by enough buyers that prices rise to reflect actual value. The question is whether you'll be among those who bought before the discovery or among those who remember when these places were affordable. Consider what mountain living actually provides. Clean air that city lungs have forgotten exists. Silence that urban ears have lost capacity to hear. Views that change daily, seasonally, hourly as light and weather shift. Space that cities have eliminated. The physical and psychological benefits of highland living that studies consistently document, but that city dwellers consistently ignore. I've shown you where the cheap mountain towns are. The listings are public. The prices are real. What you do with this information determines whether it remains theoretical knowledge or becomes the foundation for a different kind of life. Now, I need my tea. Talking about mountains makes an old man thirsty, probably because the altitude I'm describing would have him gasping. Slant, and may your peaks be clear and your purchases affordable.